Single people, what is it like being in the dating scene nowadays? People are flaky as fuck. They aren't trying or putting effort in. Not willing to have honest conversations. The flakiness is awful, and it's on all sides. If I tell you I'm gonna be somewhere, I'm gonna be there at a specific time. I'm gonna move heaven and hell to get there at that time, bro. I hate people that you can't rely on, that you make plans and then they show up 30-40 minutes late. What the fuck is that? That's disrespectful of my time as well. No one's real anymore. I'd rather somebody tell me straight up they're not feeling me instead of just ghosting you. It also kills any chances of being friends. I stay on the sidelines and wait for a miracle. I'll probably be single until I die. This is what I eventually did. I tried every normal dating app, tried meetup groups, had my friends introduce me to people, etc. Nothing panned out. Dating apps are full of people who seem to not want to commit to a relationship. Meetup groups ended up being full of either extremely outgoing or extremely introverted people. It was the same few people nearly every time, and the same few people who came up with ideas and plans. Most of it, even the outdoors ones, involved a short outdoor activity, followed by hanging out at a bar. Eventually, I just started doing whatever I wanted to do for myself, and not trying to find a relationship. One day, a friend of mine invited me to go kickboxing with her. Normally, I would have said no, because I was too shy. But for whatever reason, I said, yeah, that sounds fun. I tried it, and I really liked it. There were normal people there. I signed up for it, even though it required a 1-year commitment and it was expensive. I kept going, and the classes I went to ended up being the same people most of the time, and I started getting used to them and talking to them. One particular woman really caught my eye, and through people talking about their weekends, I realized that we had similar interests. I started talking with her, and we partnered up for the partner drills often. Eventually, we started texting outside of classes, hanging out after and chatting, etc. I finally got the nerve to ask her out, and she said yes. Fast forward almost 5 years, and we are now married and just had a baby. Sometimes all it takes is just waiting for it to come to you, rather than searching it out. Don't turn down the opportunities, but just don't try so hard sometimes. Absolutely horrible. It's almost impossible to get more than 2 dates anymore. All my peers, men and women, agree. I had a first date that seemed to go pretty well this week. She's going home for the holidays and says she'll message me after she's back. I'm just mentally prepping myself to get ghosted. Everyone is always looking for something better. No one seems to be able to hold a conversation. And my God, it's nearly impossible to get someone to meet you in person. No one seems to be able to hold a conversation. I experienced this recently. I grabbed breakfast with someone from Hinge, and I may as well have stopped at Home Depot and bought a fence post to talk to. She had no passions, no interests, and no answer when asked where she would want to travel. I was getting more mental stimulation out of my hash browns than her conversation skills. It's like a wasteland of wannabe influencers. I just want a nice person who I enjoy spending time with doing simple things. Then if things go well, we can do more exciting and expensive things. Here's some advice that I got that I found super helpful in my experience. Target your profile to people you actually want to date. Most guys make a profile that tries to make them as hot as possible because that's what everything online tells them is the best way to get tons of matches. But the thing is, doing that is just catering to the girls that are mostly interested in how hot a guy is. And let's face it, 90% of guys aren't going to have any success with this type of girl, no matter how good of a profile they make. Instead, you should target your profile towards the kind of girls that you are actually interested in dating. These girls are more interested in just finding a nice guy that they can be comfortable around and have a good time with. And honestly, don't care that much about your looks. They want to see pictures of you having fun doing a hobby, to show that you are a fun person. Maybe show a silly picture of you to show off your sense of humor. Make sure to have at least one group picture to show that other people actually like to be around you. And most importantly, put some effort into your bio and be open about yourself and what you want. This advice goes both ways too. When swiping on girls, actually take the time to go into their profile and read their bios. Yes, you'll probably swipe on fewer people that way and maybe even get fewer matches. But the matches you will get will be much higher quality and actually might lead to something real. And most importantly, put effort into the conversations when you get a match you are excited about. Don't just go through the motions. If you followed the last piece of advice, hopefully, There's something in her profile you're interested in. So ask her. Put yourself out of a limb and be willing to take risks. Message back right away even if you think it'll make you look desperate. And ask her some deeper questions right away. So many girls are just like you guys and looking for an authentic person to open up to. So show them you're willing to try to be that person, and they might open up to you in return. Over the years, I've noticed that superficiality is becoming more of the norm. And I've also noticed that people tend to be more uptight and scared to open up and be themselves. A little as 10 years ago, it wasn't like that at all, at least in my experience when I dated then compared to the present times. I'm trying to settle down, but it's getting harder to find someone and build a connection with. It's awful and not fun at all. Online dating makes the whole thing feel like the job application process. I don't know what college is like now, but I miss going to new classes or moving into new dorm rooms and being surrounded by new classmates and new neighbors. Or on weekends when everyone was trying to have a good time. It was so much easier to meet people of a similar age on a regular basis. Doing the whole dance of getting to know someone was also fun, like trying to figure out who to talk to at a party that was close enough to a girl to introduce me, rather than have to awkwardly approach her myself, or finally getting someone's number, so you could take the conversation beyond class and text back and forth into the wee hours of the night. Now though, it reminds of me filling out my resume but being asked to upload it anyway, only to never get an interview or do an interview that results in nothing, because they just did it as a formality to make it look like they were trying to find someone, rather than just give the job to the boss's nephew. And meeting people in person is a massive effort that rarely amounts to anything. They say you should join clubs or go to classes, any setting where you're going to be social and go on a regular basis. Yeah, go do that. But don't be surprised when it's all dudes with the same idea or older married couples trying to find something to do with their new empty nest. Just seems like the odds aren't in your favor as soon as you graduate college. Exactly. Everyone thinks it's easier to date these days because of all the apps, but it's the opposite. I feel like a lot of people who join dating apps have the mentality of, well, if I don't immediately feel a spark or connection, I'll just ghost this person and move on to the next. Online dating is all very disconnected from your life, which makes it easier to get rid of anyone you meet. That could be a good thing in some cases, but it definitely reinforces the idea of someone being expendable. I don't want to be some old fart yelling at the clouds, as I'm not even pushing 30 yet. But I think the problem runs deeper than online dating. It's just that online dating is where we see the mentality of swiping the most. I have a theory that the everything on-demand lifestyle that everyone has internalized is extremely detrimental to forging close connections with people. I mean, consider just 20 years ago when what you heard on the radio was what was on. If you didn't like the program on TV, you had like 5 other channels to pick from or do something else. That pattern repeated itself in every facet of life. You got what you got and you made the best of it. Now that everyone has everything at their fingertips, it's so easy to abandon ship as soon as something is a bit inconvenient or not to one's taste. The bad pilot of a Netflix show? Skip and never watch again. Don't like the chorus of a song? Your streaming service has 40,000 other tracks. Just go wild. Don't like the restaurants in your neighborhood? Just order something from across town and some guy will deliver it. Everything is designed to give maximum pleasure to your exact specifications. And then you're supposed to fit a stranger into that life puzzle who has their own tastes and aspirations that will inadvertently clash with your own. I just don't think that people are as primed as they were 2 decades ago to give things a chance, be it people or anything else. Something I saw on Reddit that I laughed and agreed with was that online dating for women is like trying to find fresh water in a swamp, and for men it's like trying to find fresh water in a desert. That is 100% accurate, LOL. If you don't believe it, make a female and male profile and look at the interactions and messages received. It sucks. The closest thing I ever had to a boyfriend was almost 6 months ago, and I was dumped by him, and the dude was hiding a whole-ass wife, the whole 2 years we were together. I see my friends jump into relationships without being healed first, and they are so bossy and aggressive and insecure, yet they're able to get past the talking stage and I seem to not. And whenever I show interest in a guy who is interested first, they seem to fall off the face of the earth. I'm not a clingy person, but what the fuck? It's ghetto here. Yikes. I'm always amazed when I hear stories about this, because like, where do these people find the time for this? A single relationship has enough going on, yet to hide a whole second one? But at this point, I just want to go on cute dates and have a mutually supportive relationship. It's not asking too much, is it?